Hello and welcome on this beautiful sunny day to this videocast for subscribers to davidicke.com. And it's a bigger welcome this week because I've missed the last two through an illness that hit me like a train. And I'm told I have adrenal burnout, which is basically I'm knackered. And it's funny, you have these different names for basically the same thing. Mike Lambert at the Shen Clinic just down the road from here on the Isle of Wight has done magnificently to get me back to the point where I can actually start working again after the state I've been in the last 2 weeks or so. And he points out that things like um, postnatal depression and ME are actually just names for adrenal burnout, basically stress, overwork of the body, overwork of the mind, comes together to reach the point where the body ceases to function. And what the body is saying is, excuse me, over here, enough, enough, no more, or else it's going to get seriously worse. And that's the wake up call I've had in the last fortnight or more now, because I've just passed, that's what I'm going to talk about in the videocast this week. I've just passed, while I was ill, the 25th anniversary of when this journey consciously started for me. It started before that, without me realizing that it was a journey. But from the time that I did realize, hey, something's happening here, it's just past 25 years to the day. And it's a good time to kind of reassess, and the body, my body, has said it's that time. And I tell you, just a few days ago, I didn't think I'd be sitting here now doing this okay. And it's going to take a few months to get back to absolute health and absolute maximum strength. But what Mike Lambert's done with me in the last very short time is just miraculous, considering the state I was in. And it gives you pondering time when you're lying on your back looking at the ceiling or looking at the wall. And I guess that's appropriate given that this 25th anniversary has just passed. And the anniversary is of the day that I walked into the house of a psychic called Betty Shine in a village near Brighton, south coast of England. And my life changed. And what was said that day and where I was going to go from there has absolutely turned out to be the case. And it's been an extraordinary quarter of a century of challenge, of revelation, of awakened understanding to the nature of the very reality that we're experiencing, and awakening to the forces that really manipulate and direct events and happenings in this reality we call planet Earth. Before I went to Betty Shine, I had some extraordinary experiences in the year before. I was a presenter for BBC television. I was a national spokesman for the British Green Party. And I was getting on with my life. And then I started to feel in 1990, in fact through 1989 into 1990, that when I was in a room alone, I wasn't alone. It was like there was a presence there which you couldn't see, but you could tangibly feel. And this went on, like I say, through 1989, when the Green Party had its first major success in Britain in the European elections. And although I should have been focusing more and more on green politics, given the success that the party was suddenly having, my mind was starting to move elsewhere because of these experiences I was having. And it got more and more tangible to the point where one night in the first months of 1990, I was sitting on a bed in an empty hotel room called the Kensington Hilton near the BBC because I was working there. And I remember looking out into the apparently empty room and saying, "Look, if there's something there, would you please contact me because you're driving me up the wall." You couldn't see it, but you could feel it. It was there. And then a few days later, I was with my then little boy, now very big boy, singer-songwriter Gareth, my son, and we were playing football down the seafront, the town where I live. And I remember I had a book. I just bought a book. I think it was called The End of Nature, and I bought it to read it for environmental Green Party reasons, and I never did read it because of what then happened. I said to Gaz, "We'll go and get some lunch down this cafe on the railway station on the seafront here." It's no longer there now, but was very popular at the time. And when we got there, it was packed. So we turned to go up and find another one up in the town when a railway worker stopped me and started talking about football. And I was chatting away, and then when the conversation was over, I realised that Gareth wasn't there. But I knew where he would be. He would be in the news shop, the newspaper and book shop right next to the station, part of the station actually. So I walk in to the door, and there he is reading steam train books. And I said, "Come on, Gas, we'll go up in the town and get some lunch." And at that moment, this is must have been early March, that kind of time, 1990. My feet wouldn't move. And this is the first kind of real, if you like, what is called paranormal experience that I had that was, again, tangible. And I'm standing there, and it's like magnets pulling my feet to the ground. And I'm, what the hell's going on? And then I heard this, not voice, but this very strong thought form pass through my mind. It said, "Go and look at the books on the far side." And I knew that bookshop very well, still there. And the books were almost totally romantic novels, Barbara Cartland, Mills and Boon, and all this stuff, which is not really my scene. But because of what was happening, I started to walk towards the books in a daze, thinking, what the hell's happening? And in among the romantic novels was this one book that stood out because it was different. And on the front was a woman's face. And the book was called Mind to Mind by a psychic called Betty Shine. So I picked the book up just because it was different from the rest, and I was kind of attracted to it in a kind of energetic way. And I picked it up, turned it over, and I read the blurb, which included the word psychic. So immediately I'm like, I wonder if this lady would pick up what I've been feeling around me for the last year. And I'd never been to a psychic before or anything like that. But I thought, I'm going to write to her. So I wrote to Betty and didn't tell her anything about what I was experiencing. I just said that I have arthritis, I don't take drugs for it, and maybe your hands-on healing, which is what she also did, might help, which was genuine. I thought it might. Who knows? The drugs were not an option for me, because if I'd have taken the drugs they gave me for arthritis when I was in my teens, I wouldn't be sitting here now. And so she replied, and I went to see her. And she did, first of all, the hands-on healing, because that's what the whole thing appeared to be about. And I went along thinking I'm just going to go with this and see what happens. And hands-on healing, of course, is just an exchange of energy. You know, it's mumbo jumbo. No, it's an exchange of energy, mate. Okay. When you come out of the Stone Age, give us a shout. Oh, you're a mainstream scientist. Still stands. And so, for the first two visits, it was hands-on healing, nice chat, interesting chat, and that was it. Then the third time I went, I was lying on this bench, like a medical bench thing, in her front room, and she was doing the hands-on healing near my left knee. And suddenly I felt like this spider's web on my face, like this cobweb feeling. Of course, I had not a clue what it was at the time, but now I know that it was electromagnetic energy, the same energy that makes the hairs on the back of your neck stand up. When you're in an excited crowd, which is generating electromagnetism. And what took me aback when I felt this was that I'd read in the book, Mind to Mind, that when other dimensions of reality, other entities, if you like, are trying to lock into you, communicate with you, you sometimes feel like a spider's web on your face because there's an electromagnetic connection being formed. Anyway, I said nothing to Betty Shine. She's dead. Left knee. And suddenly, 10, 15 seconds later, she throws her head back and says, my God, this is powerful. I've got to close my eyes for this one. At which point I'm going, ooh, what's happening here? And suddenly, both that day and the next time I came, which was, I only went like 3 or 4 times, she said she was getting messages which were to be passed on to me. And I wrote a book as a result of all this called Truth Vibrations. And I have gone through it, this experience again, in the Perception Deception. And this is what came out of Betty's mouth, through Betty, if you like, at that time. Just today, a few days past 25 years to the day, and the day that my life changed dramatically.